Good thing I don't lose. Frank. We're not lost, are we? According to the spinning thing in front of me, I have no idea. What was that? Sorry, I just got an EDGEFINDER alert on my Discord. Wow, nice add-on. I think my helmet's too tight, or maybe my head is just too big. Oh, it looks like we've got an incoming transmission.
Remember guys, we're doing our big Black Friday sale this month. Check out the links in our bio for more information.
Roger that, Julie. Okay, I'm starting to think we might be lost. Maybe James could help us with directions. I think he accidentally blasted himself out of the airlock. Again? Let's go get him.
I really don't understand why we're looking for this planet.
Frank, it's because someone told us that there's this planet out there where traders can get funded up to $200,000 in simulated trading accounts. And if you pass, you get the chance to get all your money back. It's really kind of a trader's paradise.
Traders have been searching the stars for a place like this, and it's just too good to be true.
Frank, you just gotta believe. Once you get there, they'll give you 15% off any examination with promo code A1Trading15.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, Frank, take us out of hyperspace.
Coming out of hyperspace. Now. That's FX2.
That's it. That's FX2. The legends are true. It is as good as they say.
Wow, this is incredible. There's a big giant sign that's got a promo code at the front that says A1 Trading 15 for 15% off.
We finally made it to FX2. Get your discounted access to their trading accounts right now. Link and promo code down below in the description and in the chat right now.
Can you repeat all of that once again?
No.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream as we prep for a very exciting week. It's good to have you guys back here. We got 125 kicking off the stream here. 125 of you guys so far. If you would just do me a favor as we get started, hit that thumbs up button. Hope you guys liked those intros. We had a lot of fun building them for this month. Our space theme, you know, we're still only halfway through, so we still got more space themed stuff. If you like the space stuff, it's sticking around with us for a little bit. But next month we'll have a brand new stream theme. It's kind of our new way of doing things around here. We retheme the stream. That is a hard thing to say each month. So you'll have to give us some ideas if you're a real stream fan. If you're here on the regular, drop a comment, drop a chat message, whatever. Let us know what kind of themes you think would be fun. We have some really fun ideas for the new year, so stick around. Anyways, looking forward to the Xmas theme, Grin. You're on the right track there. December's pretty easy, but some months there's not such an obvious theme, and that's when we got to get really creative. Like for November, we just pulled space theme because it seemed cool, and so far a lot of positive feedback from it. Lots of stuff to talk about here, guys. First of all, let's set the stage for this week. This week, tomorrow is the big day. So we start out here a little bit slow on Monday, but things get real hot real fast with tomorrow's CPI and core CPI number coming out at 8:30 a.m. US Eastern. Now, this number is very, very important. In fact, I can't even I cannot overstate how important this inflation statistic is going to be tomorrow. It is going to be a deciding factor for whether or not this rally in risk assets that we've seen continues or falls apart and falls by the wayside. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, inflation is, of course, a problem that markets have been facing especially in the U.S. Well, many places, right? Other places have struggled with this as well. But for the U.S., a very important metric is to see that inflation statistic go down. We want to see the disinflation trend continue because inflation can crash economies, right? High levels of inflation can make things so astronomically expensive that it can cause, the consumer to completely fall apart. And especially in an economy like the US, where we are such a consumer-based economy, you have to have the consumer hang in there. So that is why inflation coming down is so important to markets. And so tomorrow we get the latest report card on inflation. So huge implications for markets starting tomorrow. We will be, of course, live for that event. Today at the office, we're going to be planning a stream for this event to try and bring on some talent to help me go through the CPI number. Of course, you'll see the regulars, myself, Frank, James, all the good guys here at A1. But we'll be recruiting in, of course, some outside help, as always with these shows, to give you guys some good coverage. Anyways, that will be tomorrow. Huge statistic to pay attention to. And again, I cannot understate how important that is for markets. And that's going to have huge impacts on things like gold, things like indices, things like the dollar, and of course, our other currencies, right? Everything is going to be moved tomorrow by that number. Okay, so Alex says he loves the space theme. I appreciate that. If you guys like the themes, then let us know in the chat. If you guys like the theme idea, we've been having a lot of fun doing that. So we appreciate you guys showing that support. Anyways, guys, we got to start out by talking about gold. So again, CPI is tomorrow. So what does that mean? How do we prep for that? Well, you don't know what's going to happen with CPI. Nobody does, right? I'm not going to show up on these streams and give you some sort of false idea that I have a certainty as to what's going to happen with CPI. I have no idea. However, the trend, which again, we pay attention to, inflation has been kind of coming down overall, and we should see that come true. Last report, we had 3.7%. We are expecting, I believe, to go to 3.3% year over year inflation in the US. That's what we need to see, right? We need to see that disinflation trend. I think if you get this number or lower, 3.3% or lower, you see the dollar come down, you see stocks rise, and you probably see gold rise as well. If you don't see that, and again, that would be a miss, right? In inflation, if 3.7, let's say, just goes to like 3.6, and again, maybe I'm speaking into existence. We don't want this number because this number is not enough, right? Markets would probably freak out. You'd probably see the dollar go hot again to the upside, and you would see gold probably fall apart. So that number, do we know what that hidden number is going to be? No. We have to show up, we have to watch, and we have to react accordingly. I like to be a reactive trader. So CPI, I'm not going to predict. I'm not a macro economist, right? I'm a trader. I follow what's going on. I don't try and predict everything that's going to happen. Economists have a very difficult job to predict that sort of stuff. It's really, really difficult to get it right, and usually they do not. So CPI tomorrow, really impactful to markets, and we don't know what it's going to be. I'm expecting for forecasts to continue to go the way they're kind of expecting. CPI should continue to cool, and if it does, again, I think gold is sitting at a support level. I'm thinking the S&P 500 could continue its rally. NASDAQ, same thing. And I think the dollar could crack and go lower. Now, that's going to be my general game plan and my bias as we go into this week. So if you're somebody who's watching gold, again, watch very closely this level of support plus the 38.2% retracement. If you're somebody who's a technical trader, I've pointed this out on my weekend videos. I pointed out that, you drop it down to the 4-hour chart here, guys, and what you've got is you've got this downward trend. If you are a bull, right, and you take a look at the daily and you say, okay, look, daily chart, nice little support level. If you're a swing trader, like a longer term, maybe you're just looking to pick it up on this area. If you're more of a short-term swing trader or even a day trader, what I think you look for is you start getting down to like the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart, and you try and find some breakout patterns. So if we can actually find this area as support, we should be able to break through some of these barriers and start putting in some higher lows, higher highs. So as I go through this prep for this week, that is my game plan. I am bullish on gold more so than I am bearish on gold. However, I need to see those price action signals to actually get me into potential longs on gold. Okay. So again, we don't know what the CPI number is going to be. Nobody does. Everybody has a best guess, but nobody knows for certain. However, the inflation trend is still to the downside, and again, expected to see some progress there. If we see that progress, I think it lifts some concerns, and that dollar could weaken, and that is where I will start to look for break and retests on gold, especially if that momentum indication kind of picks up on the edge finder, right? If we get momentum, the trend here start to flip bullish for gold, it's likely we see it pop up on the list. So with that said, that's kind of where I'm at, right, with this week. That's how I'm prepping for the week ahead. We have, again, every week, we're fundamentalists here on this stream. We pay attention to the major news catalyst that's going to move the market most likely, and we position for possible setups, okay? If these streams are helpful to you in any way for getting you prepped, these shows that we bring on guests for and do this every day, if this is helpful to you, do me a quick favor and just hit that thumbs up button. We will be back tomorrow. And if you hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button, you'll get notified when we go live for CPI tomorrow. It's going to be a huge stream. We've got a plan that we're working on to get guests on here and to make it a really helpful, totally free stream to be here for. So if you are not already subscribed, hit that sub button, also hit the notification button, and of course, show us some love today by hitting that thumbs up button in the chat. By the way, also guys, if you're not already an EDGEFINDER user, don't miss out. We are currently running close to our to the end of our biggest sale of the entire year. It is our Black Friday sale that we've extended out this whole month. I just want to say right now, if you would like to get 45% off of our signals or of the EDGEFINDER, it is your chance to do so for a huge discount right now, 45% off. Here's how you can get access to the discount. Send us a direct message here on our live chat support center right there. That will take you to a place where you'll have a direct message conversation with someone on my staff who can help you out with getting access to our software tools or to our Discord VIP group. Both are currently, like I said, the biggest sale of the year, 45% off. So don't miss it. If you've been thinking about it, been watching the channel for a while, get yourself some great tools for the best price of the year. Thoughts on oil being bullish? I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm more on the bearish side. No, not quite on the bearish side with the EDGEFINDER not giving us so much of a signal there. However, I think, this downward trend is still in place. I think you do sort of still have economic indicators starting to slow, which could hurt the demand for oil. But I also think that, when you look at oil, I think there's a bottoming point for oil, right? There's going to be growing demand over years and years for oil. It's just inevitable. Well, of course, I will say super long term, maybe not so, right? Because people might move away from oil. But in the meantime, oil is still a massive component to the global to the way humans exist, right? We need that energy. And so there's expected to be rising demand for oil. And I also think that, we're not anywhere near totally replacing oil. So my concept with it is that, when you're looking at oil, there is like some sort of underlying value that I think props up the oil price at some point, unless we enter into a recession. So I'm not in the recession camp personally until we see indicators that tell us otherwise. Generally speaking, I think that, you should find buyers at some point for oil. But it's just not really a market that I'm trading right now. So generally speaking, though, short term, I'm more on the bearish side as economies around the world are kind of slowing down, not necessarily crashing, just slowing down. And so that demand for oil could recede further. Now, also, last thing with that is, same thing with gold, guys. That situation over in the Middle East, right? If that flares up again, it is very likely to be a very bullish thing for commodities, as that potentially leads to money printing. It potentially leads to the supply of these things being interrupted, etc. So again, I've mentioned generally bullish going into this week on gold, and really the confirmation signal would be breakouts. If we don't get that, then I'm not going to be a bull. So just because I am bullish on something does not mean like, oh, I'm buying it absolutely right here, right now. I'm saying I'm generally more fundamentally bullish on gold. That Fed stopping its rate hike cycle potentially, and as well as the dollar potentially weakening off of that cycle could lead to gold finally getting its rally. However, I need to see price action signals in order to actually enter a trade. So you can be bullish or bearish on something without placing a trade on it, right? You have to wait for the actual entries and exits component, which is where I use technical analysis. Fundamentals for bias and direction, technicals for entries and exits. That's how we kind of structure our trading stuff here. Anyways, I also want to keep up with the current trade I'm still in, S&P 500, pulling back a little bit. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. We broke out on Friday, and I really liked to see this. This was a nice close. We closed with a lot of confidence, I would say. The last few Fridays, we've had really ugly closes. Well, not recently, but before that, we were having just horribly ugly Fridays because people didn't want to hold the S&P over the weekend for fear of what could happen in the Middle East, for just concerns about general market sentiment. It seems to have gotten an opposite indicator, and that's actually positive, I think. Now, with that said, you may see a little bit of profit taking this start of the week as we approach CPI. I will stay bullish S&P unless we break this supportive level. So my concept with this is, if you're watching the S&P with me, if you're watching indices, we're still in an uptrend. We've had a lot of momentum. Probably, I'm not going to be surprised to see a little bit of pre-CPI selling, as people may want to get out of the way of that potential risk that CPI carries, right? Very natural thing. When you have a big move up, a lot of times there could be some profit taking that occurs. And that won't be me unless we break support. If we break support, then I'm out. I take my profits, I'm gone. But if we can hold this structure, as long as we do, I think Frank and I are in the same camp. We might ask him about his S&P trade in a moment. But the general idea would be, as long as we hold structure, I'm going to stay in my trade and try and see if I can hold through CPI. And if that stops me out on CPI day, then so be it. That would probably be on a hotter than expected number. But in just a moment, we're going to bring in Ivan and Frank. They're going to talk markets with me here. We'll go through some trade setups with those guys, both, of course, involved in the A1 Trading Discord community. And last call, by the way, about that 45% off. If you want access to the Discord VIP to get access to our trading signals, coaching webinars, and much more, that 45% off can be reached by sending a direct message to our team using the link in the chat right now. So take advantage, click that. There you go. You can send us a direct message, and we'll take care of you. Get access to 45% off the EDGEFINDER or our Discord VIP group, which includes our signals, coaching webinars, and chat rooms. Real quick, we're going to thank our sponsors here, guys, and then we're going to come back to Frank and Ivan for trade setups today. Check it out. Frank, are you really trading right now? We are literally traveling through space.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to 8cap, I can trade at any time and anywhere, even in space. And I get a free EDGEFINDER with it too.
That's pretty cool, but honestly, there are so many other brokers that I think are better.
That's it.
I'm ejecting you.
All right, Frank, let me back in. Come on. I'll sign up for 8cap, I promise.
Don't get lost in space. Trade with 8cap. If you'd like more information about how you can get a free EDGEFINDER, click the link that's in the chat or description to speak with one of our representatives and sign up with 8cap. There's some great free perks available. Check it out down below.
Frank!
All right, guys, and we are back with Frank and Ivan. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Hey, Ivan. Hey, Frank. So this week is CPI week, and I was trying to go through some game plan stuff, just prepping people for what we could expect, I guess, from this event. I think it's really important considering, this is going to be, it's almost like the report card for the inflationary story. Are we going to see that continue to go in the right direction, or is there going to be some hiccups along the way? So I guess, Ivan, I want to ask you, are you still looking at yen pairs? And I guess, what's your general game plan for this CPI week?
First of all, is our name do we have like a font like where A1 trading? I'm like Evan FX mentor in A1 trading, and then Frank is like, he's just A1 trading analyst. Like, do we have a same format of how to introduce ourselves?
We really should have some sort of. We should have some sort of like banner that's uniform. It's like we have 3 different variations of the same thing, but I kind of like it at the same time. Regardless, if I didn't make it clear already, Frank and Ivan both are involved in our Discord community. If you guys are already in the community, you guys know these guys. They put out tons of helpful stuff to our members. So Ivan, there's your street cred. Ivan, the coach inside of the group, he does the coaching webinars. I think you did one this morning, right?
Yeah, I did an hour ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I can't complain about that.
Yeah, so if you guys are in the Discord, make sure you're joining those coaching webinars with Ivan. And if you're not already, like I said, it is you can find out information by chatting us down below. Also, so Ivan, same question. Game plan for CPI. What are you thinking?
And dollar strength.
Okay.
And higher
Dollar
oil.
strength. All right.
So oil is already moving. I posted that trade, was it yesterday or something, or this morning? So yeah, I'm in at 76.62, hoping for 83 and some change. So that's one way of playing the CPI move, and then the other one is dollar strength. One was to sell euro this morning, or Australia maybe, but also pound. So I've said to people, at least in the VIP this morning, that if you were going to do something, this is your levels on pound. So we are going off the first one. So we'll see if that works out.
So Ivan, dollar strength. What is the idea behind that? Why dollar strength? Because I feel like consensus, right, is the disinflation story continues, and why is it? Because that's so expected that you're thinking it could be otherwise.
Just give a question to well, no, sorry, I'm here. So the reason is basically because of shelter. Shelter is still rising. Shelter is still one of the contributors for higher CPI. So to me, shelter isn't like very easy to flip around. It's not like very volatile. It keeps going. And after the meeting with what is it called, Barkin, the Fed president of Richmond, he says that the businesses still sees demand. They still see.
Oh, do we lose Ivan
right now? Because
there he is.
People still have money. People still have demand. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I guess same question to Frank. I think I'm more in the camp of thinking I think the inflation story continues to go in the right direction, but we will have to see. What do you think, Frank? I mean, how are you? None of us know, right? So first of all, as I said earlier, none of us know for certain what's going to happen with the CPI number. But let's, kind of how we generally do these is we talk about like if X, Y, and Z happens, how do you react? So I guess, Frank, what do you think about, if inflation comes out hot or cool, how do you I guess approach this week?
Well, first of all, to keep our names in congruence, I think we should all change our names to Ivan so there's no confusion.
Okay. Yeah.
But on another note, if we're talking about CPI expectations, what I guess Ivan is expecting is higher CPI. We beat expectations, and the rate is not going the way we think. However, I'm hoping that we see expectations met, as core is supposed to be unchanged, and then month over month, year over year is all expected lower. And what we've seen over time is a overall decline. I think the fear is that if rates stay the same like they have been the past 2 months, and they've been rising the past 4, is this like the bottoming of inflation because we have good economic numbers and NFP and all this stuff? Or are we going to see, this is just sort of a minor obstacle in the overall trend? So hopefully we see, for our S&P trades, we want to see a lower overall. And it's not unlikely to see that the indices have been selling at the start of the New York session today. Just not a lot going on, just expectations and not wanting to be in a giant move when it happens. And also the delay in the CFTC releasing their smart money data. We don't really know what's going on yet. So
Yeah,
there's
and
a lot of
just to comment on that,
uncertainty
Frank.
in the air.
Just to comment on that, Frank. Yeah, the COT data has not come out this past week, which is a little bit concerning. It does, I guess, happen sometimes that they have delays in getting their data out, but it is kind of creepy that it's happening right before the CPI number. So anyways, the point is that the CFTC puts out the commitment of traders data each week, which of course the EDGEFINDER pulls and puts into our UI for traders to look at. But unfortunately, we have not gotten any data from the CFTC. So we are kind of operating in the dark when it comes to what big money did in the latest filing. So I think we're left looking at other factors this week, which is kind of again, not ideal, but it is what it is. It's I got to put my tinfoil hat on because it's very peculiar that it happened right before CPI numbers to see what the big money did. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Ivan, yen pairs. Are you? I know you traded Aussie yen. Are you still in that one?
I am. Like, why not?
Very nice.
I think didn't I buy like 96, 20, 42 or something in that direction? So I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm alive.
Very nice.
So,
that's
why
turned
is it
out to
still
be
going
a
to go
good
higher?
trade so far.
Yeah, a bit of patience, a bit of loss, and then then we're gonna go higher, and then that's not my target, by the way, but yeah, I'm definitely okay if that was an issue. So, but yeah, Euro yen,
And I guess
CAD
Ivan, for
yen,
your yen,
yeah.
for your yen crosses,
Mhm.
do you think it is how impactful is CPI this week? And would you do anything with those current trades? Would
No.
you trail stops? Would you take profits? What do you think?
No, nothing. I think it might even also dollar strength, generally speaking, leads to yen weakness.
Oh, we lost him again.
He goes in and out.
Oh, sorry.
There he is. He's back.
I'm here.
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. So so dollar strength generally is leads to the yen weakness. So it's a self-fulfilling, like both for me at least seem to be on the right direction. And if CPI doesn't scare me, also come on. How many CPIs do we have a month, a year? 12? Are we going to be dropping our pants every year every month just because of CPI? No. But
that's true.
It's a
And
bonus.
you have big stuff every week, even, right? So if you're constantly getting out of the way, I saw one of my my friends in the industry, Dan Emerson, had something on his story about fundamentals. He was like, if you're a fundamentalist, news is a good thing, right? If you're a purely technical trader, you hate news. You're like, news is awful. Get me out of the way of that, and I'm just gonna constantly be in and out avoiding those news events. If you're a fundamentalist, news gives you confirmations, it gives you bias, it gives you kind of a story to look for catalysts. And in some ways, I'm looking forward to CPI to give us some clarity as to whether or not I keep holding. For me, it's that S&P trade. Am I going to hold that S&P trade? It's going to come down to CPI, because if we see progress, boom, I'm staying in there. And if we don't, then I need to take profits and get out of my S&P position. So really important there to see. What do you think on the S&P, Ivan?
Aren't you mooning it? Like, I don't know. What, 45?
S&P?
46? Yeah.
I'm still holding it. I've trailed my stop on it. My stop loss is just below market structure here that we recently saw. I'm trading the ETF SPY, of course, so it's a little different in price from SPX 500, but stop loss is just below this previous low. And in the way I see it, if CPI comes out really hot, it's probably going to take me out for a profit. And if CPI survives, I'm all about trying to survive. I think Frank and I are in the same camp. We're just trying to survive this CPI report, because if it stays in progress and in line, hey, I would love to hold this thing for the rest of the year if I could. It's just going to come down to what the market wants to do.
But also, you're holding 10K. Like, what do you mean by surviving? What do you mean by?
Yeah, but we don't talk about it, bro.
Like, what's the matter with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true. It's been a remarkable trade, but it's if you ignore the P&L side and you look purely at what the market is doing, I don't think that this is necessarily unbound. Like, it could totally continue. And I don't think, oftentimes I make this point. Yes, you have some resistance, but again, we're fundamentalists by nature. We're talking about things that could change this. And at the same time, one of the things here is that I think greed right now for me would be taking a profit just because I see a green number or a blue number or whatever. I think for me, the real patience here is if this market wants to do something like this, you have to have so much patience and discipline to try and stay in. Frank and I talked about this last week. It was like, this thing is exploding. This is awesome. But the second you just take profits because you're scared, that's when the market does one of these moves and you miss it. So of course I will take a lesser profit if the market shows me signs to. And I think, like I said, Frank and I have our stops in the same spot. So we're both looking at this and saying, if this thing reverses, take a profit and be glad you had the trade. And if this thing wants to keep running, have the patience and discipline to stay in it. So I think that's my game plan this week.
Also, the reason for why I say it is I don't know for how long, but the bullish move that has happened on S&P 500 / Nasdaq has been one of the strongest moves in years. So it's just the move in itself has been so explosive. That's why I'm like, but you're thriving. Like just keep whatever you're doing. And yes, 10K is not much bailout, but the point is that it's in profit. So, and you're just doing what your strategy tells you to do anyway. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I can't help but totally feel that way, Ivan, where it's like, when you have this massive runner and there are probably some overbought indicators kind of creeping in, it is a very natural feeling to be like, I need to get out of this trade. And for me, it's really just going to keep it to my rules. If market structure breaks, profit, sure, less than I might have taken. But Frank, what do you think about that? Oh, did I just lose connection for a second? I think we're okay. Never mind. Frank, what do you think about S&P? How are you playing it this week? Because you've still got that same trade.
Yeah, so I think you can actually look at it a couple ways too. To Ivan's point, if this is going to break structure, it might do so even before CPI. So what we're at now is hovering in profit. We could just, check this off the box, take our profit, wait for tomorrow's news and look for a re-entry. Or we could stay in if price doesn't break structure that we're looking at, wait for CPI. If it comes in the way we want, then we hold and ride it to another leg upwards. Or I guess we could hold and double down based on what we see in the data and where the market's priced at. So there are a lot of different things to consider. However, just, seeing how hard it moved in such a short amount of time, it's kind of like gold. Gold did that exact same thing early October, and now it's not finding any more bullish strength. Right. Because it was just so exhausted on the buyer's side. So I guess fundamentally it could be good news. Technically, if there are just not a lot of buyers despite this CPI, we could still see a sell-off in the market and I guess not realize the maximum potential of profits we have. But it really is just preference. Like, at this point, it's how much money do you want to walk away with?
It's a very good point. I mean, there is not, one single way. And I think, there's the idea of, like, you could say, how do you manage this position? You could take partial profits. You could close out entirely because you're realizing sort of like, maybe you just realize that profit and you say, hey, if it gives me another entry, if it pulls back, I'm back in. And then, of course, Frank and I's style of trailing stops, it is very much just your, personal preference on how you manage position and what you've tested and done yourself. So not necessarily a right and wrong ways, but different ways to handle it. Ivan, I want to ask you about one more market, dollar yen. Look at this, 151.75 coming into play here. What do you, some people are asking about dollar yen, pointing out that it just hit a new high. Do you have any thoughts on this pair?
Can I cry?
Sure, go ahead and cry. Proceed to cry.
My thought is cry. Yeah, okay. I wanted to buy it on here, but it never reached my entry, and then it says bye-bye. So yeah, no, lovely. I like it, but It was without me. So I did the other pairs, but a lovely run, lovely run.
Yeah. So what do you think, Ivan? I mean, as it reaches this high point, I think we have a general way of thinking. Ivan, you and I have been doing this together. Frank has been joining in on the parade for the last year or so on the streams. I think generally speaking, many people are going to feel like that FOMO. They're going to be like, I want to be on this so bad, and sometimes that happens. It happens to the best of us. Ivan, you and I have been doing this for a long time, and it still happens to us. I mean, Frank as well, all of us. I just know we've talked about this so many times on the stream. When you get this big hot run, and it reaches, what seems to be like it's never going to stop going up, it's very easy to feel that FOMO. But I think the best way to handle it is stick to your plan and wait for that proper entry. So I guess, Ivan, how do you play this? Obviously, you can't chase, but how do you be a participant in dollar yen, and or not necessarily be a participant, but when do you participate in being a dollar yen bull? Like now that it's kind of made the run.
That's funny move right there. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, look at that flip really fast. That resistance.
Yeah. So okay. So how do you do it? You do it when
Ivan, we just dropped 50 pips on dollar yen.
Yeah. So that's from. I'm stunned. I'm waiting.
What just happened?
I'm looking at PNL. I'm looking at things, but yeah. I can see it.
What just happened? That's actually a crazy move. We just had like a 50 pip drop.
I think just because it was 10 o'clock.
Bank of Japan, look at the 1 minute. Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe it just said 10 o'clock is the time, the witching hour. What? This is crazy. I mean, it's dropping. If you take a look at the 1 minute chart, it just dropped precipitously as we pulled it up. So maybe we just cursed it. This is a crazy move all of a sudden.
Yeah. Also, by all means, yeah. So how do you do dollar? How do you do yen strength? You need to wait for wage growth to persistently rise, and then you need to have the Bank of Japan actually change their policy, maybe increase some interest rate. But apparently, Bank of Japan is it's a tricky one. They are definitely pulling some strings out there, and then now they're going to say that the market was the one pushing it lower. But yeah, so it went to 151.90. I was expecting 155 for some reason, but okay, cool. Maybe we fall down. Maybe we're down at 149 tomorrow. Well, if CPI goes out in the forest.
Yeah, very much, I guess, dependent on that CPI number. And like you said, maybe it's literally some traders at the Bank of Japan saying, yeah, that's resistance. We're going to try and hold it here. But that is a precipitous drop right after we hit resistance, literally on stream. We were just saying, hey, it just reached a new high, and boom, it dropped like a rock. That is definitely something to monitor. I think one thing I would add too, Ivan, is like if you get that breakout beyond that level, it again is the same story we've been seeing for some time. Watch for these levels to try and hold, and if they break out, they generally seem to just want to continue. But I guess we'll have to see how this progresses. It could come down much lower very quickly. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting day. And the thing is that the 10-year GPY has fallen from trying to do 1, gone down to 87. But if yen is strengthening now, then we're going to see this one falling more. But we'll see. Maybe I need to redo put some positions in the break even, maybe.
Yeah, interesting point. We'll have to see what the news brings us in terms of what was there any sort of thing that got announced or something that we can keep up with. But of course, tomorrow is CPI. Ivan, are you going to be coming on? We'll have to see if we can get you to. We'll have to loop you in coming on CPI tomorrow. It should be a big day tomorrow. We'll definitely reach out to you to see if you can come on.
Ball out, yeah, very much funny. That's an easy trade. Okay. Yeah, I will see if I can stick around.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks guys for coming on. I'm going to wrap it up there. We got some stuff to get to here, and of course we'll have to talk more about this Japan potential intervention stuff. I don't know if that's going to be the story, but there seriously is a reaction to oh, just died. My internet's doing some weird stuff today. With that said, guys, we're gonna wrap up the stream. Thanks, Ivan. Thanks, Frank, for coming in here. We'll drop the link to Ivan's channel if you guys would like to check him out. And Ivan, Frank, thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys. And also, reminder, guys, last call on that sale that I mentioned. We are currently doing 45% off our software tools here at A1 Trading. We are, of course, a software company out of Atlanta, Georgia. If you would like to get 45% off, tomorrow is CPI. We will be covering that, of course, all inside of our Discord channel with those two guys that you just saw, Ivan and Frank, and myself. We share tons of stuff inside of the Discord. Ivan does our coaching webinars. We also have, of course, Frank and I sharing our trades in full detail. So if you'd like to get those alerts and notifications whenever we take a trade, tomorrow is the big day. We will be trading CPI inside of our VIP group live. So if you would like to join for that, make sure to do so by clicking the link that's in the chat right there. You can see it right ahead, right below me here. 45% off. Send us a direct message. When you do message us, let me just show you what that looks like. You're not messaging a robot or a system or anything. You'll be speaking with someone who is a real person on my team. You can click here, click Black Friday sale. And again, that will get you 45% off of the VIP Discord. Last thing I will say is we also have a free Telegram that if you guys have not already joined, make sure to join that. Tomorrow we will have updates throughout the day for our free subscribers in Telegram. We won't be sharing our trades, but we'll share plenty of setups, charts, ideas, things that we're thinking about, and latest coverage for those key statistics. Ravi, thank you very much for the 400K. Congratulations. And again, if you guys would like access to anything from our store, just a reminder, like I said, that is the 45% off sale link that we just dropped. James has something for us. I think he's going to take over here for a second. We're going to let him do the news with you guys. So we'll bring in James and say hello. Hey, James, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Pretty good. We've got a big week ahead. So I'm going to give you the floor for a minute to do the news, if that's cool. And then we can prep for CPI with you for a few minutes.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
All right. So we have a little bit of news to talk about today. And I also have some pretty fun stuff that happened over the weekend. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So this is what's coming up ahead this week, Tuesday in the UK, the Clément count change. As always, I will never learn how to pronounce that word, but that is happening on Tuesday, along with US CPI. And I know that Nick has talked a lot about that. That is going to be a really, really big one, but not just US CPI happening on Tuesday. We also have UK CPI happening on Wednesday, and Wednesday is actually going to be a big, big news day, along with US PPI and retail sales numbers. Those will be the base numbers as well as the core numbers report, Empire State Manufacturing Index, and towards the end of the day over here on the East Coast of the United States, we're going to have the Australian unemployment rate. That news will release Wednesday as well. So Wednesday is going to be a big, big day in terms of important market moving events. Then on Thursday, as always, we will have US dollar, USD unemployment claims. And Friday, we have UK retail sales. So kind of a slower into the week, but tomorrow and Wednesday, very, very busy action-packed days. So here's a little bit of what's happening right now. Xi Jinping is coming over to the United States to meet with Joe Biden over trade talks. And now you might remember that this is 9 months after the Chinese weather balloon incident that left U.S.-China relations at a recent low. That was an interesting situation where there was a weather balloon that had drifted its way from China over the U.S. People thought that they were spying on it. The U.S. ended up actually shooting down the weather balloon with a jet. I mean, it was an unmanned, just it was a balloon essentially. So that was a very strange situation. But 9 months later, Xi Jinping is coming over to San Francisco. He will be here on Wednesday, and they're going to have a talk about trade trade relations. According to Gina Raimondo, who is the Commerce Secretary, the relationship that China and the U.S. have in terms of trading is a $700 billion trading relationship. So obviously, there is a lot of benefit to come to both countries if trade relationships can keep up. Z told a visiting U.S. congressional delegation last month that there were, quote, 1,000 reasons to make U.S.-China relations better and no reason to make them worse. So that'll be interesting to see what comes out of that on Wednesday. Now, some fun news that happened over the weekend. I saw this and I thought this was pretty cool. So over the weekend, there was a national holiday in India celebrated called Diwali, I believe is how you pronounce that. So over the weekend, millions of people in India celebrated Diwali and set a world record for the most lit earthen oil lamps. Diwali is a national holiday in India that is celebrated by socializing and the exchanging of gifts. Traditionally, earthen oil lamps are lit as part of the celebration, and over 2.2 million lamps were lit over the weekend. I think I also read that the last record, I believe, was set last year at 1.5 million. So they smashed that world record with these oil lamps lit. And I have a picture coming up of it on the next slide, and it looks very, very cool. Part of the celebration also includes a special prayer to Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess who is believed to bring luck and prosperity. So that happened over the weekend in India, and I'm sure over the world as well as other Indian people celebrated Diwali all over the world. But this is what it looked like, and it looks very, very cool. So you can see all of the lamps there on the ground. And I don't know what part of the celebration this is, but it does look like a very, very cool thing. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the U.S. indices because I was checking out the EDGEFINDER, which again, of course, is 45% off. I was checking out the EDGEFINDER, looking at the market heat map, and I noticed that all three U.S. indices are down on the day. So US 30 was down at the time. So the market heat map is getting updated every 15 minutes, so it is very accurate. But obviously, markets are moving by the minute or so. So at the time, a couple minutes ago, US 30 was down about 0.9%. The S&P 500 was down about 0.4%. And the NAS 100 was down 0.67%. We can take a look at that right here. So this is the NASDAQ, and this is a daily chart. So we can see the NAS trading lower here after and again, so the daily chart shows that it looks like we had just broken through. So these highs here, these were our most recent highs set back in October. We had broken through those. And then on Friday of last week, we had a monster day for indices. And it seems like the market is giving a little bit of that back. So we can see pretty much the same thing here with the S&P 500. Again, we can see that back in October, we had our most recent highs, and then we actually broke through those highs just a little bit last week. And then on Friday, had a really strong monster day. And then to start the week on Monday, we are giving some of those gains back. So all of the U.S. indices down on the day so far. And that is what is happening in the news today. Looks like I'm the only one left in here, so I'm going to close out the show now. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great trading day. We, of course, will be back tomorrow for CPI. Let's see. Lee said, James, it's pronounced claimant, though it's spelled claimant. See, Lee, Nick has helped me with that so many times. Oh, Jay says it's pronounced Diwali. I apologize for my pronunciation, guys. I'm trying my best here. Thank you for correcting me. I want to pronounce it correctly. But yeah, Lee, Nick has helped me so many times with the pronunciation of that word, and for some reason, it is like the one thing that just refuses to stay in my brain. So yeah, that's going to wrap up the show. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, we do have 45% off the EDGEFINDER and as well as our other products in the store. And we have a big day tomorrow with CPI. So we will see all of you tomorrow.
Thanks again for flying with us on the A1 Trader. Our goal at A1 Trading is to give you the latest in market news through our daily videos and articles. Take advantage of our huge Black Friday sale, 45% off, happening all month on our best products we have to offer. A1 Trader, prepare for the return home.